Welcome to Zeph's house. Come in out of the dark and pull the door shut behind you. Tonight's tale is called The Handbook. I want to be plain about who I am before I tell you the rest, because by the end you are going to wonder. I am not a dramatic man. I am 61 years old. I pay my taxes. I mow my lawn. I wave at my neighbors whether I feel like it or not, and I separate my recycling, even though I have always suspected it all goes into the same hole in the ground. I tell you this so that when I say the people who run Crescent Ridge Estates are not, strictly speaking, people, you understand I am not reaching for a story. I am telling you what happened in the order it happened. I bought the house in March. 200 homes on a ridge that used to be second-growth woods and one old orchard nobody had picked in 50 years. They cleared all of it, cul-de-sacs, sidewalks, lawns so green they look printed. The kind of place where every third house has a little doorbell that watches the street. My realtor handed me the handbook at closing, spiral-bound, 47 pages. I did not read it. I had lived in the world before, and I figured I knew what was in it. Mostly I did. Trash cans out of sight by 7, fences no higher than 6 feet. Paint from the approved palette, 11 shades of beige and 1 gray that is also beige. Ordinary, tiresome, expected. Then I got to page 31. Page 31 is where it stops being a handbook. I am going to give them to you the way they are written. I am not softening anything. I took photographs in case one day I needed to prove to myself I had not dreamed it. Rule 14.3. Residents are not to acknowledge, wave at, or make eye contact with the family residing at 14 Crescent Court after sundown. This includes greetings, gestures of welcome, or leaving items upon their porch. Rule 14.7. Lawns must be maintained before the 3rd Wednesday of each month. Failure to comply will result in your lawn being maintained on your behalf. Do not observe the maintenance. Do not thank the crew. Do not leave out water. Rule 22.1. Should the street lights along Crescent Ridge Drive turn from amber to blue, proceed indoors and draw every curtain. Do not attempt to find the source of any mowing heard during a blue light event. Rule 22.4. The community pool is open 6 in the morning to 9 at night. The pool is closed 9 at night to 6 in the morning. The pool is occupied 9 at night to 6 in the morning. These are not contradictory statements. Rule 31.6. The annual block party is held the 2nd Saturday of June. Attendance is mandatory. Residents who do not attend will be visited. This is not a threat. This is scheduling. Rule 31.9. Do not dig below 18 inches anywhere on your property. If you already have, contact the board. Do not describe what you found to anyone but the board. I read all of that on my first night, sitting on the floor eating cold pizza because the movers had not come yet. And I laughed. Of course I laughed. Some retired man with a label maker and a mean streak, I thought. The kind of thing the neighbors joke about over a fence. I have learned since that the people here do not joke about the handbook. They lower their voices the way you do in a church, or a hospital, or over a grave. I broke the first rule without meaning to. It was a Tuesday, a little after sundown, and I was walking back from the mailbox. I passed 14 Crescent Court. Nice house, same beige as mine. A family was out on the porch, mother, father, 2 children. They looked pleasant. The mother lifted her hand and waved, and I waved back because I am a friendly man, and that is what friendly men do. The moment my hand went up, every porch light on the street went out at once. Not a power cut. The street lights stayed on. The windows stayed lit from inside. Only the porch lights, all of them, in the same instant, like they had taken a vote. The family at 14 was still waving, all four of them. The same wave, the same speed, the same smile, their hands going back and forth in perfect time, like they were being worked by one hand somewhere behind them. I put my own hand down. They did not. I went inside and locked the door, and about 10 minutes later the porch lights came back on, all together, the way they had gone out. In the morning there was a letter in my mailbox. Crescent Ridge letterhead, one line. Please review Rule 14.3 at your earliest convenience. No signature, no return address. I decided I'd learned my lesson, and that was the end of it. Normal neighborhood, I told myself. Strict, but normal. So I let my lawn go. Not from laziness. I wanted to know what your lawn will be maintained on your behalf actually meant. The third Wednesday came and went, and my grass got a little shaggy, nothing more, and I went to bed. I woke at 3 in the morning to a lawnmower. Not down the block, not a neighbor. A mower running at full throttle directly under my bedroom window in the dark. I got up. I went to the glass. I had my hand on the curtain, and then I remembered. Do not observe the maintenance. I stood there with my fingers on that curtain for a long time, and I did not open it. The mowing went on for 45 minutes. It was thorough. I could follow it by sound alone, left to right, a little overlap, left to right, a little overlap. Patient. At 3:47 it stopped, and there was a single knock at my front door, and I did not answer that either. In the morning, my lawn was cut so even it did not look real. Edges razor straight, long diagonal stripes pressed into it like a ball field. There was a bill in the mailbox, $375, lawn maintenance, services rendered. Please do not dispute this charge. I paid it. I bought a mower that afternoon. I have not missed a Wednesday since. The first blue light event was a Thursday. I was watching television when the living room went wrong. The light coming through the curtains slid from warm to cold, from amber to a blue like the inside of a freezer. I knew the rule. I had been here 6 weeks, and part of me still wanted to believe this was all some long, elaborate joke. So I pulled the curtain back 2 inches. The whole street was blue, that surgical, bloodless blue, and under it the beige houses had gone the color of old bone. And something was mowing my neighbor's yard. The right sound exactly, the drone, the whisper of the blades, but there was nothing there. The grass was laying down in neat rows across his lawn, row after row, and there was nothing pushing it. I watched maybe 5 seconds. Then the blue light pulsed once, like a slow heartbeat, and every blade of cut grass stood straight back up at the same moment, like it had never been touched, like the mowing had been taken back. I closed the curtain. I have not looked during a blue light event since. I went for a swim one evening at 8:45, 15 minutes before close. The pool was lovely. Heated, clean, those blue underwater lights that make you feel like you were swimming inside a movie. At 8:59, a whistle blew. There was no lifeguard. There was no one. The pool lights shut off, and I climbed out and toweled off and started for my car. Behind me, I heard a splash. I turned around. The pool was dark, and the surface was moving. Rings spreading out from the middle, the way water moves when something heavy has just gone under. Then another splash, and another, and another. 4, 5, 6 of them, and I could not see a single thing making them, only the sound of bodies going into the water and the rings running over each other until the whole surface was rough. A pool that was supposed to be closed. Then the underwater lights came on, The water was glass still, clear to the bottom, empty, but it sat 2 inches higher up the tile than it had when I climbed out. I went home. I do not go to the pool after dark. The block party was the second Saturday of June. I am not a joiner, and mandatory fun is my idea of a punishment, but by then I took the handbook seriously. Tables, streamers, a bouncy castle, burgers, a man playing music that managed to be too loud and too quiet at the same time. It looked like any block party in the country. I noticed 2 things. The family from 14 was there, standing at the edge of the crowd, all 4 of them, that same matched smile. Nobody spoke to them, nobody looked at them, and at the far end of the street there was a table nobody sat at, set for 1. White cloth, real silver, a folded napkin, a glass of red wine, a plate of food still steaming in the June heat. I asked my neighbor Phil who the seat was for. Phil looked at me and then at the table and then at me again. "That is for the board," he said. I said I did not know we had a board. Phil took a long pull off his beer. "1 member," he said. I asked if he had ever met them. He said no. I asked if that was a good thing. He looked at me for a while. Then he said, "Don't," and he walked off to find another beer. I looked back at the table. I had taken my eyes off it for the length of that conversation, a minute, maybe less. The wine glass was empty. The plate was clean. The napkin was folded beside it. And nobody at that party had walked toward it or away from it that I had seen. I wish I could tell you I did not dig. I was setting a fence post, and I had done it properly, filed the form, gotten the approval, and the approval came back with a line in bold. Reminder, post holes are not to exceed 18 inches in depth. The first 3 holes were 16 inches of clean clay. The 4th was in the back corner of the lot, right up against the tree line, the one strip of old woods they had left standing. At 18 inches, my shovel rang against something. Metal. The rule was right there in my head. Do not dig below 18 inches, and I dug below 18 inches because I was a grown man holding a shovel, and my brain would not accept what it had hit. It was a handle, a brass door handle, set sideways into a flat wooden surface, a foot down in my own backyard. I cleared a square of it, old wood, a door laid face up under the dirt, and the handle was warm. 2 in the afternoon, the middle of July, and a brass handle buried under my yard was warm to the touch, like a hand had just let go of it from the other side. I covered it back over. I filled the hole. I set the post at 16 inches and poured the concrete and went inside and poured myself something stronger. In the morning, there was a letter. "Thank you for contacting the board regarding Rule 31-9. Your inquiry has been noted. Please do not dig in the back corner again. The door is not for you." I never contacted the board. I have never contacted the board. But they knew. They always know. I have been at Crescent Ridge 14 months now. I mow every Wednesday. I do not wave at the family at 14 after dark. I do not look during the blue light. I do not swim after 9. I went to the block party and I ate my hot dog and I did not ask again about the table. I do not dig. I have learned to live inside the rules the way you learn to live with a bad knee or a noise in your car you stop being able to hear. You quit asking what it is, you just adjust. But here is the thing that keeps me up. Last week I was clearing out the garage, and behind the water heater I found a second handbook. Not the one my realtor gave me, older. The cover was leather instead of plastic, and the pages had gone the color of weak tea. It had every rule the new one had, word for word, and then 6 more, rules 32 through 37. I have not read them. I am not sure I am going to, because Rule 32 begins. If you have found this handbook, you have been selected. And Rule 37 ends. Welcome to the board. I think I finally understand why there has only ever been one member. And I think they have been looking for a long time now for someone to take the chair. And that's all for tonight. If this one stayed with you, leave a like and subscribe. There's a new strange tale every week. Sleep well, if you can.